Poland's Institute of National Remembrance has demolished a Soviet monument in Pijitsa, Western Pomerania. The Russian embassy is protesting, claiming that these actions are illegal. This isn't the only voice of protest. Activists from the party, the infamous Grzegorz Braun, are also voicing their outrage. Meanwhile, the Institute of National Remembrance, or IPN for short, is calling on other municipalities to dismantle monuments honouring the Red Army, thereby echoing the appeal of Karol Nawrocki, today President of Poland, who before running for office was the president of the IPN, leading these kinds of projects. This Soviet monument has been demolished after many years of struggle, as for years the local authorities refused to agree its demolition. And now this moment has sparked fury in the Kremlin, whose reaction differs vastly from that of the residents of Pijitsa.
Ja jestem za tym, żeby usunąć. Po co on tutaj nam potrzebny jest?
Russia has its own version of events. The illegal removal of monuments is a blatant attempt to falsify history and erase the memory of the heroism of Soviet soldiers from the consciousness of the Polish nation. That was the statement from the Russian embassy in Poland, sent to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Ojca mi zabili, dziadka mi zabili, ja na nich nie mogę patrzeć wcale.
Russia, during World War II and also after 1945, was hardly a liberator for Poland, despite what monuments such as the one in Pijitsa might try to suggest.
Tutaj sowiecki mir, ruski mir nie sięga.
The deputy president of the Institute of National Remembrance spoke during the demolition of the monument in Pijitsa, noting that Russia was yet another occupier of Poland, responsible, among other things, for the Katyn massacre in 1940, for its betrayal in 1944 during the fighting in the Warsaw Uprising, and for the crimes and repression against Poles after the war ended.
Niech żyje wolna I niepodległa Polska.
But it's not just the Russian embassy that's protesting this matter. Before the demolition, activists from Grzegorz Braun's party in Western Pomerania protested in defense of the monument, threatening those who wanted it removed with consequences from the Russian authorities. They made no secret of their anger. The IPN is thus depolonizing the Polish Western territories with the support of not-so-bright local officials. I repeat, as a fundamentally anti-Polish institution, the IPN in its current form must be scattered to the four winds. This isn't the first and, as one might guess, won't be the last instance of Braun's party taking a stance aligning with that of the Russian embassy.
Bardzo ciekawe jest to połączenie.
It's very interesting to see this connection between Braun's party's protests and the Russian embassy's. Will they say it's a coincidence? There are just too many of these coincidences. The Institute of National Remembrance, meanwhile, is implementing the decommunization law passed by the Polish Parliament in 2016. Immediately after its adoption, implementation proceeded very slowly. Some municipalities, led by politicians from the civic platform on the left, refused to allow the demolition of monuments. Consequently, the then head of the IPN, Karol Nawrocki, stepped in. A propaganda monument like this was also erected in your town of Novogród and unveiled on the 55th anniversary of the Bolshevik Revolution. Nawrocki appealed to local government officials not to be afraid and to remove communist symbols from their territories. For this, he is officially a wanted man in the Russian Federation. Is this the brotherhood in arms they speak of regarding September the 17th, when the Soviets attacked our eastern territories? And the issue has gained momentum, especially after Russia's aggression against Ukraine. There is, however, one but. The fact that the Russian embassy is protesting is somewhat understandable, but it's sad that there are groups in Poland who, citing Russian regulations, are also protesting against the removal of these symbols. There are still 15 such structures across Poland, similar to the one demolished in Pijitsa. Among them is one in Międzyzdroje. As President Karol Nawrocki says, this should be a square of freedom and independence, not a monument to the Russian soldier. Just as there used to be a Soviet monument here in Pijitsa, there will now be a square of independence.